Headlines about Andy Barkley and his killer good guy doll.
Mom, Chucky was trying to take over my soul.
And now it's time to play.
Child's Play 2 was directed by John LaFia and was released on November 9, 1990. The budget was raised by $4 million. John LaFia co-wrote both Child's Play and Child's Play 2, of course, with Don Mancini. So starting off, we zoom out of a doll head, the same one from Child's Play with the title card. We get kind of a cleanup and reconstruction process of the original doll. It's crazy because I mentioned the last time how flammable this product is. It seems that this company didn't really learn anything from the first movie. Clearly, they don't care about consumers and just care about pushing out products. Sadly, to the point where even if their product was used in crime, which technically shouldn't the Chucky doll be in evidence and not sent back to the original company, the doll is reconstructed. We see a car pulling into a good guy factory and is carrying Mr. Sullivan, presumed to be the owner or shareholder of the company. He and his assistant, Madsen, but we'll call him Matt, talk about the previous movie's incidents involving Charles Lee Ray, and Mr. Sullivan plans to reconstruct Chucky, in my opinion, to prove that their dolls are in no way involved in the incident. An incident happens while workers finish up reconstructing a doll where a worker is electrocuted. Now this is where I would opt not to even touch the damn thing. I mean, just destroy it. Because sure, the incident can be labeled as a malfunction involving equipment, but hell no, I wouldn't be taking that chance. We meet back up with Andy 2 years after the Chucky incident. He is in counseling and it seems like no one believes him, so he has been taken into foster care. He refuses to talk about the Chucky incident, maybe because they didn't believe him in the first place. I mean, I wouldn't be interested either. Family is looking to adopt Andy, and they speak about his trauma. The Simpson family hears the story and questions their qualifications required to care for the child. They still decide to take him. Now, things seem normal at first. Once they arrive home, Andy is traumatized all over again by another good guy doll that fell out of a closet onto him. This one is named Tommy. It's evident that he is still struggling to accept his past. They have another foster child, Kyle. She has a thing for smoking. They try to stop her, but she has packages on deck. We love Kyle. She is involved in the storyline beyond this movie as well. We end up back at Play Pal Toys, the company that made the Chucky dolls. Mr. Sullivan's assistant, Matt, takes Chucky, putting him in the backseat of his car. He stops at the store for a drink when his car alarm goes off. It was a trap. Chucky hijacks the car using a toy gun, threatening Matt to take him to an empty parking lot near the Simpson house. He ends up tying Matt up to a seat before suffocating him and makes his way towards the house that Andy is staying in. Meanwhile, Andy is bonding with his new family. He's being read a bedtime story by his foster mother. He tells her about missing his biological mother, Mrs. Barkley, and further discusses concerns about seeing his mother again. She comforts him, but Lord, if she only knew. Chucky ends up in the house and he meets Tommy. He gets rid of the doll using a figurine that Andy was told not to touch when he arrived and buries Tommy in the backyard under a swing. Andy and Kyle in the morning gets in trouble for breaking the figurine. Both say they didn't do it and they end up getting grounded. We get these little cute bonding scenes between Andy and Kyle. Since they're both grounded, they spend more time together by doing laundry. They talk about their situations, and since Kyle is 17, having been raised in the system, she tells Andy things are not as bad with the Simpsons. On his way upstairs, he hears them talking about him. It's obvious the mother likes him, but the father does not. Mr. Simpson thinks Andy needs more attention because he still has an issue with the good guy dolls. Andy walks away and confronts the quote-unquote Tommy doll that is now Chucky. After checking its batteries, he decides to accept Tommy to prove to his family that he will be easier to care for. I feel bad for Andy having to do that, especially because we know the truth. It's hard trying to get anyone to believe a doll can come alive like Chucky. Kyle and Andy bond more outside, playing on a swing together. They discuss their parents. Kyle reveals she'd much rather not remember that she has biological parents. More of what's done is done look on things to protect her peace. They play together on a swing in a cute little sibling moment with Chucky in the background. He grows concerned as they swing because of what's buried up under it. He watches Kyle kicking up dirt, but a call to dinner stops them from discovering the original Tommy doll. Later on in the night, Chucky blows his cover and ties up Andy. He tries to do the ritual, but is interrupted by Kyle sneaking back into the house after sneaking out. Chucky tells Andy he will find the time to transfer his soul into him and goes back stiff before Kyle sees. She tries to help untie Andy, thinking somehow he must have done this to himself, but the Simpsons come in thinking she tied him up to stop him from snitching on her. Not a bad excuse, honestly, but I do feel like Kyle should be more on board now, because how would an 8-year-old child know how to tie themselves up with a doll on their chest? The only culprit would be the foster parents or the doll, at least to me. Andy tries to explain the doll is a lie, and Mr. Simpson takes Chucky, throwing him in the basement to prove to Andy that the doll will no longer be an issue. While Andy and Kyle go to school the next day, she asks him how he tied himself up. This just proves to Andy that no one believes him. I don't blame her for not believing him, but I'd at least think the parents would be more responsible than Andy. But again, she's a teenager and I can't really blame her, and I know she got into further trouble for sneaking out. Maybe her judgment is truly clouded. She finishes walking Andy to the school bus and goes on about her way to school. Chucky follows Andy to school, intending to make sure he gets detention to have free time with him alone for the ritual. He ends up writing curses on Andy's worksheets, effectively getting him in trouble. His teacher locks Chucky up in a closet because Andy discovered the doll before he ends up getting in trouble. She thinks he maybe wants to play with it and make sure he cannot. She also locks Andy in a classroom. I swear her locking that door is some sort of safety concern. Chucky yells at Andy to let him out of the closet, but hell no. Andy opens the window and leaves. The teacher returns thinking Andy's in the closet, but nope, it's Chucky, which I don't understand that. How could a kid unlock the closet and then lock himself in said closet because he wanted the toy so bad? Somehow she believes the narrative, so she looks for Andy in a closet. Chucky jump scares her and finishes her off using a long ass ruler. I do like the shot where with every hit of the ruler, the camera zooms out, and even at its furthest, you can still kind of see the ruler. It's pretty cool. Andy returns home and shares what happened at school, but the foster parents don't believe him because they received a phone call detailing how Andy wrote obscene messages on his work sheet the teacher gave him. Mr. Simpson gets fed up, making Andy look at the doll downstairs, which honestly is impressive on Chucky's part. How did he get himself right back in the same place, position, and all? I can't not side with the Simpsons here because from their viewpoints, things look relatively normal. Later in the night, Mr. and Mrs. Simpson argue on whether or not Andy should be sent away. Mr. Simpson thinks they don't have the skills necessary to raise Andy, and Mrs. Simpson thinks more time would do his case justice. This happens right next to Andy's room, by the way. I know damn well his ass knew Andy could hear him, and for real, you could have had this conversation at a different time. Kyle is here for Andy at least. She tells Andy it's not the end of the world, but he is convinced that things are over for him. Andy that night decides to try and take Chucky down himself, but he gets attacked and drops his weapon. It's an electric cutter. I don't know, I've never seen one of those before, and I don't know what they're called, but Chucky runs away before Mr. Simpson arrives, and of course, this man starts to talk Andy down, thinking he's insane. Andy again tries to explain, but is stopped and eventually gives in, turning off the electric knife thingy. As Mr. Simpson walks down the stairs, Chucky is behind the stairs with a fire poker. He trips Mr. Simpson with it and finally sees Chucky. But I mean, it kind of means nothing because he doesn't live long after seeing him. Chucky drops Mr. Simpson on his spine or head, causing him to go lights out. Hearing the commotion, Mrs. Simpson and Kyle show up. They call the police and are now convinced that Andy somehow caused all of this. Kyle tries to console Mrs. Simpson about the loss of her husband. She ends up sending Andy back to the orphanage, but before he leaves, Andy warns Kyle to protect herself. Later that night, Kyle's on a swing outside smoking, and while she's swinging, she kicks up enough dirt to notice the original Tommy doll. At this point, she realizes Andy may not have been wrong. She goes into the house looking for Mr. Simpson and hears her in a room sewing. Kyle arms herself with a knife just to be safe. She checks on her, but soon finds out that Mrs. Simpson is gone. Before she could react, Chucky pounces on Kyle. She tries to get Chucky off her back and succeeds, but loses her knife to Chucky in the process. I don't know why Kyle doesn't leave at this point. She threw Chucky off of her, and in my opinion, instead of looking for him, why don't you just run to the nearest exit? She finds him, but Chucky ends up holding her hostage with the knife. He makes her drive to Andy's location. At this point in the story, Andy is no longer alone. Kyle supports him. At first, she didn't believe him, and due to Andy's warning, she slowly starts to believe him. Although right now, she is in danger. They get pulled over by police because Chucky forces Kyle to speed. They end up getting let off with a warning, but they almost get caught because Chucky starts to bleed, highlighting the urgency of him needing a new form soon. Chucky makes Kyle pull the fire alarm once they arrive at the orphanage, so it's easier to locate Andy. They meet back up with the orphanage owner and is immediately questioned about what is going on. She puts them in her office. The orphanage lady ends up taking Chucky from Kyle, and she ends up getting fatally stabbed. As she falls, Andy and Kyle try to escape but are separated by Chucky. He takes Andy, jumping into the back of a mail truck outside to escape. Kyle notices and gives chase. She eventually gets the car to pull over but realizes they are no longer in the car. Chucky took Andy and runs towards the Play Pals warehouse. The place This looks like a maze of good guy dolls. Chucky successfully does his ritual, but notices it's too late to transfer. This only makes him more angry, and his new objective is to take revenge on both Kyle and Andy. Kyle pushes a bunch of good guy dolls into Chucky so that she can reunite with Andy. They run away with Chucky close behind. Andy and Kyle climb up a conveyor. They close a gate over Chucky's arm, forcing him to rip his own hand off. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this scene is very disgusting, at least to me. A lot of things don't scare me, and I mean, him ripping his hand off is not really scary by definition, but it's just why. He also replaces the hand with Kyle's knife, so I guess he's a pirate now. A lot of things happen when they're separated for a minute. Andy and Kyle find an unusable exit. Great. At this point, sue these people. There's no way. Let's just say I'm a worker and something horrible happens in this factory, and I mean, how do you expect me to leave? Seeing this exit is useless, they run off looking for another. A late night worker ends up being taken out by Chucky because, I don't know, maybe Chucky has a bit of a problem, because what did that man do to you, Chucky? Seriously, what did he do to you? He finds the kids eventually though. While Andy and Kyle were going through the factory, they learned how a few different sections operate. They used this against Chucky not once, not twice, but 3 different times. Firstly, they put him in a section that puts doll pieces together after Chucky accidentally stables himself to a thing that holds up dolls. He's left in there for a little while, causing him to come out looking deformed. I can't really show what he looks like, but to describe it, it just looks like a big, disgusting blob of doll pieces. Andy and Kyle think it's over, but none of that can stop Chucky's drive and obsession on getting revenge. Kyle gets knocked out by the body of the person Chucky got rid of, so it's really up to Andy to save her. And of course, here comes Chucky, still trying to get Andy. This time he pulls a lever that releases hot plastic onto Chucky, coating him in it. But Andy can't celebrate just yet because Kyle fell into a machine that can harm her, so he shifts his attention to help her. He wakes her up just in time, and we get another look at Chucky. Again, I cannot show it, but I don't even know how to describe this. I mean, if you want to see it, I urge you to watch the movie yourself. It's really good. But lastly, while scoping out the scene, Chucky is still alive because of course he is. Kyle sticks some air thing in his mouth and literally blows his head up. Again, really good movie. Now things are over. Andy and Kyle leave safely, and that's where the movie ends. Alright, so would I survive? My honest answer, no. I mean, from Andy's position, yes, of course, I would definitely know the truth deep down, so Andy's position is safe in this scenario. As for the foster parents, yes, I would. I mean, I wouldn't be willing to really just take care of a child that is traumatized because, I mean, how old are the Simpsons for real? To me, it's not just about how much help is needed to raise Andy, it's really about my opinion on how active I would be with that child. I'm not saying they simply cannot give Andy the best care, but if I were in their position, I would care for older children because smaller children require more attention and work. Also, with Andy being traumatized, he may require even more attention. Again, not saying this is not okay, it's strictly my opinion. But if I had to adopt Andy, I wouldn't survive. Mainly because, I mean, I'm an adult now. Even with this movie existing, I wouldn't believe a child if they said a doll was alive and trying to end them. I would do practically the same thing the parents did in not believing Andy. Now, from Kyle's point of view, I'd say 50-50. Mainly because my survival instincts are a little different. When she knew Chucky was in the house, I'm done. I'm leaving. What are you talking about? I called the police to check out the house, but I mean, I'm gone. Sorry, Andy. You're adorable. So freaking cute. But shit, nah, we would have to split, bro. Like, mostly me. But, little bro, that's all you. Take care of that. If I had to check things out and ended up kidnapped, things would pretty much end up the same. Overall, I say my survivability from all positions would be 25%, considering the viewpoints of the Simpson family and Kyle. Now, getting on to the issues I have with the movie. Now, I mean, yes, I love Chucky. I feel like I'm gonna say that so much throughout my reviews, but I'm allowed to point out things I feel like make no sense to me. Firstly, okay. So in order for Chucky to find out the location of Andy, he ended up calling the foster system, pretending to be a family member of his just to get his location. And I think that is so wrong. Like, honestly, the childcare system failed Andy. Secondly, how did Chucky beat Andy home after the school incident? I don't know if Andy ran home because, I mean, school ended and I don't know if there's a school bus ready to take him home after the fact. But even if Andy did run home, how did no one see Chucky making his way back to the house? Thirdly and lastly, in the warehouse, I know I didn't show y'all, but after Chucky got deformed, somehow his appearance changed the second time he popped up. I mean, I get it. He might have looked crazy, and if he came back on screen with the way that he was looking, it probably would have scared audiences a little bit more. But in my opinion, it's just an inconsistency that I like to point out. So overall, I put Chucky in tier C, mainly because of the inconsistency inconsistencies. Another issue I had with this movie is the aftermath. That's really why I put this movie in C tier. I couldn't find anything proving what happened in the time between this movie and the third one, fully in my opinion. Kyle would be blamed for everything Chucky did, mainly because the knife Chucky had used to get rid of all of those people, she had touched. Furthermore, the media didn't believe Andy at first, so why would they believe things now? If you guys can find anything canon that confirms what happens, please comment them down below. But so far, I have only found theories with little to no proof backing it. So that's my review of Child's Play 2. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm aware the feedback is a little choppy in the beginning, and I apologize for that. I'm still learning to edit. Furthermore, don't be shy. If you love this video, I highly recommend that you go and check out the other videos. And with that, we're going to check out Child's Play 3 very soon, but the next video I will be dropping is Obsession.